Speaker, I can say this is an extraordinary budget for extraordinary times in Kenya. Madam Speaker, when a country is faced with extraordinary circumstances or public debt or rejection of finance bill, we resort to extraordinary decisions of ensuring that we live within our means so that we can be able to grow the economy of this country and build a prosperous Kenya. Madam Speaker, I have listened to the chairman of Budget and Appropriation. Madam Speaker, we're to agree as announced, Madam Speaker, that under these circumstances, what is so critical for us? What is very critical for us, Madam Speaker, is employment of the youth of this country that are actually been unable to be absorbed in our economy. Madam Speaker, that is why we are to sacrifice other funding programs so that for 6,000 JSS teachers are actually be able to be absorbed, Madam Speaker. We have been able to finance employment of the intern doctors, Madam Speaker, because those are the people who take care of our health, Madam Speaker. And if we take care of our education, Madam Speaker, through employment of teachers, and we take care of our health by ensuring that we employ the interns on permanent and pensionable terms, Madam Speaker, then we take care of our health that is going to grow the economy, and we take care of our system of education so that we don't produce people or graduates that have not been able to undergo proper training because of lack of teachers. Madam Speaker, the JSS teachers are simply graduates like other graduates that have been employed previously on permanent and pensionable terms. This is why we are saying, Madam Speaker, on these circumstances, we better, as Parliament, we've agreed to cut off 3 billion, Madam Speaker, for our travel expenses so that the children of Kenya will have an opportunity to be employed, Madam Speaker, as JSS teachers, so that the youth of this country can be employed as the confirmation of the intern doctors, Madam Speaker. That is actually prudent use of our resources, Madam Speaker. Even in the reduction, if you look at on this proposal, Madam Speaker, the money that goes to the county governments were reduced by 20 billion, Madam Speaker, and in addition, another 30 billion that was not being able to be paid during the financial year 2024, Madam Speaker, are actually factored in so that now the county government's budget goes to 410, Madam Speaker, so that resources that have been already earmarked for that particular function, Madam Speaker, are actually brought forth. Madam Speaker, you are aware that the NGCDF, by the time of the lapse of the last financial year, we had not received an exchequer of about 13.5 billion shillings, Madam Speaker. And that is the money that has already been brought forward so that we can be able to finance the programs that was expected to be done in the previous years, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you look at the economy of the country, Madam Speaker, when the dollar came down, Madam Speaker, it is good for the members of this House to realize that when the dollar was able to come down from 160 to 130, Madam Speaker, that gave us a debt relief of about 570 billion shillings, Madam Speaker. That is be able to save more resources for our programs, Madam Speaker. It means, Madam Speaker, if Kenya was to live within its means, then, Madam Speaker, we must reduce expenditure on parastatals that are taking a lot of money and they are giving less, Madam Speaker. So we agree with matching of about 47 parastatals, Madam Speaker, so that we have a lean government that we are able to finance and we are able to grow the economy rather than creating a lot of organizations that take a lot of money, especially on recurrent expenditure and travel allowances, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, for us to grow this economy, we look at the agricultural sector, Madam Speaker, in many ways. Look at the livestock industry, Madam Speaker. The livestock industry, Madam Speaker, is actually an economy of the pastoral community, which is more than 80% of Kenyans who are actually practicing pastoralism, Madam Speaker. That is an area that we need more resources. Madam Speaker, even in the issue of the 14.5 billion shillings that was meant for rural electrification in our constituencies, Madam Speaker, is a factor that we must be able to reconsider in the next supplementary budget, so that, because electricity is key, even in the election of these members, Madam Speaker, and ensuring that there is equity throughout the Republic of Kenya in terms of power distribution. Madam Speaker, there are parts of this country that have never even seen the wires, the electric wires that are in our country, Madam Speaker. So what we are saying, Madam Speaker, is whereas we cut on our expenditure so that we can be able to grow and live within our means because of the failed finance bill, Madam Speaker, there is a critical area that we need to, as an house, investigate and be able to put sanity. Madam Speaker, look, we are losing about 400 billion on tax expenditure in this country, Madam Speaker. People who are very busy claiming VAT returns, Madam Speaker, every day. So you can look at, we are trying to raise more money, and there is a lot of other money, it's about 400 billion, that are actually going down through fictitious claims of VAT, Madam Speaker, and other tax expenditures, Madam Speaker. There is no need for finance bill to raise about 340 billion, and at the same time, we lose another 400 billion on tax expenditure, Madam Speaker. So you want to collect 300 and you want to spend 400. Madam Speaker, what is the logic? We must seal the loopholes so that the money that are being fictitiously claimed under VAT, Madam Speaker, can be able to be recovered so that we can be able to put in our programs, Madam Speaker. Finally, Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate the chairman here for giving us, even during these hard times, Madam Speaker, that if we live prudently, if we spend prudently, if we consider the sectors of our economy that are able to take care of our youth, Madam Speaker, we shall have a country that is prosperous. Look at the issue of police. I want to congratulate the chairman of security. Whereas there is other programs that are required, and the chairman of finance or budget here, Madam Speaker. Police are key in restoring order in our country. Madam Speaker, the reason why we want an increase for salaries of police, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that there is no coleslaw in the police force, Madam Speaker, and be able to actively and get motivated to deliver programs like other employed Kenyans, Madam Speaker. I support the increment of salaries of our security forces, not only police, even to the KDF, so that this great gentleman can be able to protect this country from any aggression and externalities within and outside Kenya, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, finally, school feeding program in Kenya. Those of us who come from pastoral communities where children go to school because there is availability of food is key. And we want to congratulate the committee by ensuring that there is money for school feeding program and be administered by the Ministry of Education, so that through NACONEC, so that the money can be able to reach the very needy schools of Kenya, and we will be able to bring more children to come to school and be assured that there is food and they can be able to learn, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in our parts of our country, food is an incentive of going to school, and we support this, and we can continue to enhance this particular budget through Ministry of Education and NACONEC, because that is the only way we can be able to have learners that are stable mentally even when they are in class. Madam Speaker, because there is a lot of things that are being underfunded, and even employment of the other new teachers. Madam Speaker, in this particular supplementary budget, there is some little money. We were expecting to employ about 20, but because of the extraordinary times, we're going to employ less. But it is better than nothing, Madam Speaker. But going forward, as we grow our economy, we can be able to put more programs to the youth so that we can be able to grow our economy and sustain programs that will create wealth for Kenya. Madam Speaker, I rise to support and congratulate the chairman and his team. Thank you, Madam Speaker.